have your attention, please? The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Welcome, everybody, to another Georgia Archery podcast. I'm your host, Big John Chandler, and this is where we talk about, well, anything and everything to do with archery in the state of Georgia and Georgia archers, wherever they may shoot. And there's the man on the other end, my friend,
your friend from the other end,
Dwayne Horton. What's up, Dwayne?
Man, I am trying to get myself together. I just crawled off of a range. Long day today. So we're out here just having fun, man.
Out here just having fun. Well, yeah. How was your weekend?
Man, we had a good weekend.
Did you?
It wasn't bad at all. Yeah. I had a graduation party to go to. My nephew decided he was going to go in the Marine Corps. So
definitely.
That was fun, man. We cried a little, laughed a little, the whole deal. And he is now in Paris Island for a 13-week boot camp, man. So,
yeah.
Yep, my nephew is. Yep.
Well, we watched it rain and then watched it rain some more. And we watched it rain some more this weekend. So that's what it's about. So
that's right.
Yeah, that's how we did this past weekend. I didn't pick my bow up this weekend. So that's just how it went. But there was some shooting going on this weekend.
There was.
So this weekend we missed it. I forgot it. So the National Archery in the Schools program had their Eastern Nationals in Kentucky, Louisville. Mm-hmm. And I posted up. They had 14,972 archers that shot in the bullseye. There was 7,212 females and 7,760 males, and then 33 states, different people. So that's a freaking crowd.
The 33 states encompassed 720 teams?
Yeah, 720 teams. Yep.
Okay. Yeah.
That's freaking cool.
Man, that's awesome.
And then they do the 3D, which is IBO 3D. So they hit the center, score it that way. And they had 6,719 archers shooting that event, 3,251 females, 3,468. Isn't that right? 68 males, and 412 teams in that event.
In 31 states.
And 31 states competed in that event. So that's pretty stout there.
No, that's awesome. That is and let me ask you, so that was all in Kentucky? Both of those were
they do it in the same at the same place that the convention center is the same place that ATA has their show every year, when they host it in Louisville.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. So it's big old facility.
Right.
And
that's in meters, right? So I think we talked about that.
Yeah. So they do 10 meters and 15 meters for bullseye. They shoot five arrows per round. They get one practice round at the first distance, score 3, get one practice round at the longer distance, and then score 3 more.
Okay.
So perfect score of 300. So.
And then 3D is.
Don't quote me on this, but 7 or 8 targets. And they're in a V shape. In other words, one to target like the turkey is up at close at 10 meters, and then the next one may be at 12 meters, which is maybe the goat, and then the next one, and then a deer, and then the longest one is out there, and then they move it back short. So you come around, you shoot a group at each one of them. So it's pretty cool.
And here we are out here. Now, this is something that I thought about last weekend when we talked about 4-H, and you were saying how 4-H's 3D is unknown, right? Yep. I'm assuming this is unknown too.
Yes, to the point that the first one is sitting on the first line, so everybody knows that's the 15.
Okay.
Or that's the 10, and then the last one is pushed out to the farthest distance.
Right.
So the in between is not really known.
So it's not really known, right?
But it breaks out into the thing.
And
So,
these are kids, right? So these
these are all the
kids.
grade school kids from
Right.
elementary, middle, and high school. They all shooting a Genesis bow, and they're all shooting aluminum arrows. It's the exact same setup, no matter if you're in elementary school or high school. Excuse me, man, that wasn't no good.
So my point was to bring that up. My point was we're over here searching, right? So I think one of these podcasts that we had on. So we're over here asking, like, okay,
Yep.
is the unknown game dying? Well, they have an avenue. There's the avenue right here. The avenue is 4-H. The avenue is NASP. The avenue is right here. So it's obvious, right? So the avenue, the kids are shooting unknown.
That's right.
But for some reason they're not. I don't want to say this out loud, but I'm that guy, right? So for some reason they're just not taking advantage of the opportunity that's in front of them. And when I say they, I mean the people that are supposed to be the front. How do I say this? The ambassadors of the unknown game.
Of the sport,
right?
Yep.
The ambassadors of the unknown game. Because Lord knows we all like our known. I like to know what the hell I'm shooting at. Excuse my language, but I just like to know the distance.
For sure.
But there's a bunch of people out there going, "Why is unknown dying?" Well, it's not. It's right here. The kids are doing it.
Yeah, they all.
You just got to take advantage of it. You know. So here you go.
So on Saturday, the Refuge Archery had their benefit shoot from 8 to 12, and it was flooding, and it was nasty, and it was up in Maysville. But they ended up with 140 shooters to raise money for Brantley Carlton in his battle with the brain tumor. So that is amazing.
Amazing.
As nasty as it was, they had a good time. Everybody I know that went had a great time. They enjoyed it. They raffled off a bunch of stuff and collected a lot of money. So congratulations to that.
Absolutely. Kudos to everybody that went out there and shot that, man. You're the real champion.
For sure. And then I forgot to put this in. So hold on one second and I'll tell you. Go to the next one. You can read TGB. So
TGB. So the TGB trad Dan Quillen shoot in Culloden had 88 shooters. We're looking at 88 trad guys is what that was. So that is, I mean, they always pump numbers. The trad guys always pump numbers. They always stand behind their like they always show up for each other. Like they really do. And that's amazing, man. I love to see those numbers right there.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. And it says the top score was Tracy Fernandez with 321 out of 400. Is that right?
Yes, that's exactly right. So I figured we'd post
That's amazing.
I mean, the perfect score was 400 and they shot 321. That's Tracy's from killing it is all I can tell you.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing with a trad bow. Dude, I wouldn't even know what to do with a trad bow. I mean, let's just get real. Come on, really? I mean, I'm not out here trying to be Robin Hood. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that. I'm sorry. It ain't happening. It's not going to be me.
All right. Mm-hmm. Rocky Creek Archery in Dexter ended up with 10
shooters. Yeah.
10.
Mm-hmm. I texted Kaylee that morning. When I woke up at 6 o'clock that morning and with all intentions to go and play her course. And it was freaking storm. When I say storming, like it was coming down.
Oh yeah, it was nasty. I mean,
evidently it did really well at her place. Yeah, and her place is like I think she's 2.5 right at.
It's just about where it come across. It's crazy how it came through.
So I was under the impression I didn't even honestly whenever
it was
I
got washout.
Yeah, it was a wash, and then evidently
and a lot of other people probably had the same feel.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
I hate it that she doesn't get the number. She always puts on a great freaking shoot.
Absolutely, she does. I'm gonna tell you something. That's one of, if not my favorite. You know what I'm saying? Places to shoot, and I've messaged her outside of her holding shoots when there's nothing to do, and on weekends or whatever. And I'm like, "Do you got targets up? Can I come shoot?" Yep. You know what I'm saying? Like I need something different to look at. You know what I'm saying? And she's always got her targets out because she shoots them obviously, and she's always got something cool set up. So,
yep. So And then Sunday, Mother's Day. So everybody went to sing to mamas, or celebrated with their wives that are mamas, or their, whoever that was mamas, and everybody we celebrated mamas. So that's what happened this past weekend. Now, if everybody saw my post earlier this week, we were supposed to have guests on, and
they all chickened out. No, I'm just kidding.
I figured that we could do the warm up first and get everybody in here, because usually it trickles in, So now it looks like we got about 18 in here. So without further ado, look at there. How about it there, Miss Beck?
Hey guys.
So there she is.
So
how's it going?
Good to see you. Randy couldn't make it because he is taking care of some ASA business in Kentucky to make sure that everybody goes to Kentucky has a great shoot. So
he is, yeah.
He's headed that way. He was going to try to make it in the chat if he could, and then if he couldn't, so forth, so what. So without further ado, Alisha has been slaving over all of the different points and different bonus points and who shot the better score so that you can drop the lowest score and keep up with all of that. And I'm telling you, my hat's off to you, girl, because that is a whole lot of work.
It really is. I honestly did not know what I was getting into, but I'm happy to help. Randy, Scott, all the guys that, put all their time and effort into this, do us favors all the time. So I figured, hey, it's the least I could do to help out. So happy to do it.
So anybody, yes, great shoot Saturday. Definitely was fun. So anybody here? We know we talked about this, and who has questions about Shooter of the Year. So how about I just started off with, throw it out there. What do you have to have for Shooter of the Year?
Well, for Shooter of the Year, you've got to at least have 4 qualifiers that you've shot for the Shooter of the Year, and you can shoot as many as you want. Now, for each one that you shoot, you get 3 bonus points. But for Shooter of the Year, it's the 4 highest scores plus the state championship. After you shoot 4, the lowest score is going to get dropped, but those bonus points remain.
Okay. And do you know how many qualifiers we had this year or are supposed to have this year?
Well, we started out the year with 14. Right now, we've got 15 scheduled qualifiers. We had Sweetwater add on for the 24th. Okay. So that's an exciting thing. It was a club that was just about to kind of go under, and we had some new people step in and get Sweetwater back up and running. And that was the goal initially, to be able to have enough shooters and participation to keep that club up and going. So they've added on a qualifier.
Okay. And who let Lynn here? I don't know. Nobody ever knows. Look at old Rodney's in the house.
Yeah, Rodney's in. We got quite a bit of people in here.
Yeah,
we're running. Alisha, I got a question. So let me ask, for everybody that don't know, how long have you been doing just so before we really get started, I know you've answered a couple questions already. So how long have you been handling the Shooter of the Year program for ASA?
This is my first year for Georgia for Shooter.
And so you've taken it over this year. Have there been any issues like that you can, because I know in the years past, there've been a bunch of squabbling here about this, about that, or whatever the case is. Have you ran into anything like that was, something that was, that you just felt like you just couldn't wrap your head around, that you just couldn't handle?
Absolutely. Listen, I'm a female shooter. There's not a lot of women that shoot.
Okay.
So did I like winning a participation buckle? Heck no. I wanted to beat somebody. Mm-hmm. But every year going forward, before I started Girls with Bows, it was, here you go. You won Shooter of the Year. Well, I'm the only damn person shooting. So of course I won. I never agreed with that. The bonus points can be a little tricky, I feel like, to wrap your head around at times, but I'm going to go ahead and go down this rabbit hole about the bonus points. There's 2 ways to look at this. Yes, Shooter of the Year is a shooter that has great scores. It's a shooter that has been to multiple qualifiers and that has beat several people. But the other way to look at it is this is someone that has supported all the local clubs in Georgia. There's two
Okay.
ways to look at it.
Sure. Absolutely. I don't disagree with that. I don't think anybody can disagree with that. However, I do feel like there is a bunch of people that feel like the bonus points can be somewhat unfair to different regions of Georgia. Okay.
Absolutely. I agree with that 100%.
Okay. So anyways, I just wanted everybody to understand exactly what your spot was with the Georgia ASA Federation and how long you've been handling the shooter of the year. So it's not like you've been, handling this for years or whatever the case is. Like this is your first year, and whatever you come up with, whatever issues may arise this year, you're obviously willing to go, hey, look here, bring this before the federation and go, hey, look here, maybe we can do this. Will this change the program? Will this help the program? Things like that.
Absolutely. And I'll piggyback on that a little bit. With any kind of organization or any kind of club at this volume that we have, there's always room for growth. Always.
Yep.
Okay.
And with every year and with every new members and with all the people that are coming in and concerns, there's always room for change. There's always room for growth. It's about taking that into consideration and getting it in their hands of the right people. Randy is absolutely fantastic. There's room for growth. So if there's concerns, we just need to work on it.
All right. So Jake has a question. I'm going to pop it up so everybody can see it across the bottom. Probably helps to explain the purpose behind the Shooter of the Year program. Do you know what the purpose was for? Why they built the Shooter of the Year programs and why it was there. So
absolutely. So the whole point of the Shooter of the Year program is to keep your local clubs alive. It's to keep the sport of archery alive and going. If you have a Shooter of the Year program, it gives people incentives to go out and shoot those clubs. It gives them an incentive to try to get as most points as they can. Gives them something to go for. It gives a shooter a goal.
Now we got to be careful when you do that. All right, and I'm going to say this. I'm going to say this to that point. When you're able to travel, because I think Mr. Lynn Hardy said it best right there. All right. When you give those Shooter of the Year points, right, those extra points, those participation points to clubs that are an hour and a half, 2 hours away from each other, right, that's not a problem at all, okay? Now, when we're talking about clubs that are 4.5, 5 hours away, and those and I say we because I'm one of those clubs, and those shooters have to drive 4.5, 5 hours to every one that's not, that's not being held in their region, then it becomes slightly unfair, right? Where those shooters get to go an hour and a half, 2 hours, and they spend a tank of gas, where the shooters having to drive 4.5, 5 hours they just don't see the point. It just costs too much money. So, not that we don't want to shoot, or not that those shooters don't want to shoot or don't want to participate. It just doesn't make financial sense. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get that 100%.
Absolutely.
It cost me a weekend and a hotel to come shoot Coastal.
Right.
I don't like that. That stinks.
Yeah, same for us. It cost us the same thing. When we go up there and shoot Gainesville, it's a hotel room. Or I go shoot Sweetwater, it's a hotel room. Or I go shoot RBO, it's a hotel room. Same issue, right? So we feel the same way. The difference is the line's drawn at about Macon, right? So slightly under Macon. So the difference is there is quite a few more up north than there is down south. And I think if we all put our heads together, and I'm not going to keep going down this rabbit hole, but I think if we put our heads together, there is a fair solution to the participation points, especially if the clubs are willing to hold more qualifiers to offset the participation point difference. You understand what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I think there's a solution there. We just got to figure it out.
I do. You know what my most favorite solution would be, though? And this is a little unrealistic. Why not grow the amount of clubs that we have?
That's everybody wants to have a club in their backyard, right?
No,
Everybody does.
I know. So what I'm gathering from this, and I'm making notes as we have this discussion, points. Do you think about having, I know that the bonus points for every single shoot that you shoot, the goal for that was shoot more qualifiers, get more points, trying to draw more shooters into each club. I get that. I understand that. But what do you think about only the top 4?
The top 4, what? Tell me.
Shoot. Like
So,
if you
so you get in other words, you get only participation points for the top 4 that you get. Is that what you're saying? So you get a participation point for shooting 4 events.
correct.
Well, if you're there, if everybody's there, why would you need those extra points?
Do you think it should be 1 participation point per each shoot that you shoot?
I'm at a conundrum because I was a club or hosted a club for many years, and participation points were put in to drive traffic to clubs.
Sure.
Right. And yes, it's a long way down there. That saltwater baby. But when you had your qualifier, how many people came from the north down?
I'm not prepared to answer that question, sir. No, I'm just like I think around 3.
But 3 or 4, right?
Now my first year was better. My first year I did have. Now this year not as many. My first year I had a lot more people from up north coming. Alicia helped out with that when we had her event here.
Yep.
And that pulled a bunch of people down here. And Lord knows we try. Lord knows everybody. We're not out here not trying, right?
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying is like the point being is that you had it and you drew 3 people from the north because of the points. That's why they came. There's no doubt in my mind. I'm not going to point names, but there are 3 people or 4 people, whatever, that drove down not to have a qualifier or to make a qualifier, but they went to get their points. So did it really work? That was 3. Did that grow it enough? I don't know. I'm not a fan of participation points per se all the time. Because if you didn't have to worry about participation points and y'all had 4 qualifiers in your area, let's say you did 4 qualifiers in your area, 2 and 2, or because you got 2 clubs down there, right?
Sure. Yeah.
And they both hosted. You could get your minimum points or your minimum scores in just in your area, right? The only downside is if you stunk up one of them,
you're right.
You got to go.
Now I got to drive. Yeah, exactly.
So now, you guys got to think about this too. You've got 15 qualifiers scheduled, so to say. You only need 4.
That's right.
Okay. So me personally, I'm going to make a financial decision. I'm going to go to the ones that fit my schedule, my financial issues better.
Absolutely.
You choose, and everybody's going to do that.
Absolutely.
We need more clubs.
I think it does boil down to finance at the end of the day. It boils down to finance, and needing more clubs is everybody's problem. That's every state's problem, right? That is an ASA problem, and that ASA is trying to. We are actively trying to fix that problem. That problem's not easy to fix. What you can do is, in my opinion, don't mean jack. I'm just here, right? But I feel like every club should have a voice. And excuse me for my voice being messed up right now. But I feel like every ASA club. How many? Do you got your notes where you can tell me how many ASA clubs are in Georgia, Alisha?
Yes, you've got GAC, RBO, Coastal, Ogeechee, R&D, and that's it. Am I missing one?
Sweetwater, RBO.
That's it.
All right, so
if you put that on a map in Georgia, you've got RBO, you've got Sweetwater up top.
You got to be missing one. You got to be missing one because that would be 14 qualifiers with 2 per. So there's one Big Creek. You're missing Big Creek.
That's Creek,
Oh, wait a minute. Team On Point. because they're holding a.
Team own points hosting the state. So,
But they're not shooting a qualifier.
Yes, they are.
but we're
They
not
have
talking
to
about.
you have to shoot a qualifier to host a state, so they have to have a qualifier.
Now y'all gonna make me go get my thing
Go
out.
go get your notes because you have to host a qualifier to shoot.
Well, Jake's right here. When you're hosting a qualifier, Jake?
Jake, when's your qualifier? I know you got one.
I thought he did it already.
No, he didn't because that's one on my schedule to go to because Jake is a June
Oh, the
14th.
14th. Okay, so there it is.
That's on my
Trip-
schedule
Trip's
to go
got
to
them
because
numbers.
he's right there at the cusp of my
Oh,
travel.
yeah, it's on that travel time. Yeah.
Yeah, on my
100%.
travel finance right there. Jake is like right on the cusp of it.
Yep. But yeah, Jake was one of them. So that's all of that. But the point being is what we were talking about, points. That was the biggest discussion is points.
Right. So
and Jake made a good question. Were the participation better when there was points? You know, like total, like if you look through the years past. I mean, and I'm not going to ask Alisha to find that or know that information. She hasn't been doing this, but this is her first year, so she don't really have that point. I can tell you that I don't think it drives enough traffic to make it worthwhile. If I'm going to shoot a qualifier, I'm going to shoot a qualifier which is convenient for me and closer to me if I can do it. And then I think, and this is, I mean, I'm just going to throw it out there. I know what class I'm shooting, and I know who's leading in the points on that class, right? And I know he has shot a bunch of qualifiers, and probably going to shoot some more. You know, so
yeah, and let me. I'm going to read this. I'm going to read this comment right here. Just allow more qualifiers for South Georgia. It isn't rocket science, and that's what I was leading into. So I was leading into. If you're going to allow participation points, figure out a way to go, okay, there's X amount of participation points based on X amount of qualifiers for North Georgia, and wherever that South and North line is, the South and North line is. Make sure there's equal amount of participation points in South Georgia that are available in South Georgia that they don't have to drive 4.5, 5 hours, right? Yep. So if there's I'm just going to say for easy math, let's say there's 20 participation points up North Georgia and the line is Macon. All right. Let's just make sure that there's 20 participation points available in South Georgia below Macon. Okay. Now what that may mean that a ASA club has to host 3 qualifiers, or maybe that ASA club hosts 4 qualifiers. Whatever the number is, just make it even, because I can tell you there are clubs that are willing to hold more than 2 qualifiers. Is all I'm saying. And I think that if you're wanting to hold participation points and you think that participation points drive numbers to clubs, then that may be the answer. I don't know. I'm just saying, hey, I'm just out here throwing ideas out, right? That's all I'm doing.
Jonathan says use bonus points for only 1 qualifier per club.
That's a thought.
So essentially, if I made, I can pick the 1 or the 2 because you're hosting 2. So let's say I drove down and got points off of 1, and because I only shot one at your club, I get my points. But I don't, have to complain about driving back down there to get them 3 points. Not
the
saying
other 3 points.
Yeah, the other 3 points because I don't have to worry about it. But
at
the same time, that saves you from going, oh my gosh, the clubs that we just named, 7 clubs, right, or 6 clubs, whatever it is.
Well, we forgot Kennesaw too. So
Kennesaw Archery Club.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you figure all of those clubs, if they only had bonus points at 1, right, then maybe it would clean that up sometimes. So.
Okay. I think listen, so I think we're having a very good discussion about it right now. I think it's a healthy discussion. I think it's a topic that a lot of people feel very passionate about.
Yep.
I also feel like the people that are commenting, okay, and the people that are in this live and the people that are commenting care about the growth of the sport and the growth of ASA. I really believe that, right?
That's why we posted and that's what we did,
Right. Saying that, I think that each club should have a voice on changes. I think the clubs should have a voice on ideas, things of that nature. I'm gonna preface what I'm fixing to say by saying I do not disagree with giving Sweetwater a qualifier this year. Okay, I'm gonna preface what I'm fixing to say by saying that. So I don't want the people who are shooting Sweetwater to come for me when I say this. What I can say is that it should have been voted on by the clubs that they got a qualifier, right? There should have been a vote, because without the clubs paying their dues, there is no federation, okay? Without the clubs going, I want to be a club, we're in, there is no federation, right? So they should have a voice. There may be some people that think that that the number of qualifiers should have stayed the number of qualifiers, right? And that Sweetwater comes in next year. There may be some clubs that think that. And that should have been a discussion. That should not have been a, hey, guess what, you guys, here's another qualifier. Without the clubs being able to vote on situations like that or issues like that. When you are a part of an organization, the organization should not appear to be run as a dictatorship. Okay? It is a democracy. It is run like an organization. It should be run, and everything should be voted on. I'm going to say that, and I know I'm probably going to catch some heat for this shit. But it is what it is, right? There is not a single other organization out there, archery or any otherwise, that is just decisions are just decided upon and just pumped out there. It doesn't work like that, right? The NFAA does not operate that way. The ASA does not operate that way, right? So the ASA, whenever they make changes or decisions, what do? Right? So they got 2 meetings a year. They hold their meetings. They talk about the changes they want to make for the upcoming season, and they vote on them. Who likes them, who don't like them, right?
Yeah.
This should be no different. The Georgia ASA Federation should have some type of council, and the clubs should be a part of the council. They should be able to vote on decisions that are being made that affect them. And that, letting Sweetwater have a qualifier. And I'm going to say this again. I don't care that they have one. I'm glad that Sweetwater has one. But adding another qualifier lets there be 3 more participation points when we're talking about shooter of the year. Okay? It just does. So it should have been voted on, and I'm going to stand on that. Okay, 10 toes down, I'm going to stand on that. And if somebody else wants to call me, we can debate it. We don't have to continue debating it right now, but we can continue debating later, whatever.
One thing that Jake said, and I'm going to post it back because I'm going through as the comments come through, is multiple qualifiers do not promote traveling to other clubs. Right? No. I know something that the S3DA did, when Jake was running the show. We divided it up, the state, into, a north, south, east, and west, and everybody hosted one, so that everybody could get a chance to go to the one, and then you had to shoot 2 to go for shooter of the year, 1 in your region, 1 outside your region. So at the same time, that promotes movement.
Sure.
And
we can sit here and talk to Alisha about these things, and Alisha can take notes, and we're gonna all talk about this at the end of the year or whatever the case is. Like, we can come up with all these ideas.
I can write these ideas and pass them along, you guys.
Right.
And I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying. The only thing I am going to step in about Sweetwater, because the only thing I'm going to say is the goal is to keep the clubs alive.
100%.
And Sweetwater I love the guys out there. I think they host a great shoot. And that club was fixing to go down into the dirt. Honestly.
Same. Yeah.
Club.
Oh, for sure.
Girl, I'm with you. I'm not against it. Like I told you, I'm not against it.
What I'm
saying is,
that are, but we've got
right.
There are some people who are mad because they're all in a last minute add to the calendar for shooter of the year is a last minute ad, and I am on pace to do. And then all of a sudden I planned, because I've already looked at all the calendars, and I said, I'm going to the beach that weekend. And guess what? Somebody's going to get 3 points that I'm not going to be there to get. Because I planned as per calendar. So
Again, look here. This is a healthy discussion about things that we see as members of the federation. That's it. And the
So,
members
question
that are
real
faded.
quick.
Okay, go ahead.
What do you think about, so we have state coming up, right? What do you think about all the clubs getting together afterwards
that's what
and
Jake
having a discussion
Jake
at
mentioned
state
that
every
too.
year?
Amen. Amen.
That's what Jake said. You know, he said, "Hey,
Sorry, I don't
you're
see
all,
the
you're all
comment.
here. Just have a meeting to discuss." So,
All right, so state meeting between the clubs after the state championship every year, no matter what.
I believe that 100%. And I can tell you there are other organizations that do the same thing. What you just said happens in other organizations.
that's right.
Well,
Hey,
ASA does that. They have their state meeting, the big meeting at the Classic, the big building that they do
that's
the
right.
fancy dinner.
Every year. That's right. So, I'm gonna throw this one out there to you because Robbie, we miss you, brother. We miss you. He gave you a whole lot of props, man. He said you were awesome. He said you were his replacement. So whatever, I don't know.
Who, Robbie?
Yeah. He said,
Love you, Robbie. Appreciate it, brother.
But
So Ken Wood says shoot better. So everybody
right.
should shoot 20 up at every qualifier you go to, and you're
That's
good.
the answer. That is
100%.
the answer right there.
But he says, his guys travel everywhere. There's not an ASA in his neck of the hood. So they travel everywhere if they're going somewhere. And I mean,
That's right. And plus, every club up this way, anyway, is an hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes. Unless we go down to Dwayne's, it's a 4-hour trip.
Right. And we were in the same predicament when I first started shooting. Now listen, and this is something that I'm gonna stand on this. When we first started shooting, we had a Geechee down here. When I say we, I mean the crew that I travel with. We had a Geechee, and a Geechee didn't shoot ASA.
Nope.
They were not an ASA club.
NFAA for true die, whatever.
So
been there forever.
Their rules were completely different when it came to 3D. So I had to travel. Everywhere I went was 3 hours plus. It was everywhere I went for the first 2 years. Okay. And then I became vice president of Evgeni Bowman, and I brought ASA on. All right. And then some things rubbed me to where I wanted to start my own club, right? So I was like, well, you know what? I'm gonna start my own club. That way we can have 2 clubs down here. And it snowballed for us down here. That's the reason why, because I just felt the need to bring ASA back down south. And when I say back down south, I mean ASA started in South Georgia. And a lot of people don't realize that. Like ASA, the home of ASA is South Georgia. And for some reason, it has just it is deserted down here. ASA doesn't live down here anymore. So I took it upon myself to do something about that. And just like you were saying earlier, we need more clubs. Yeah, we do. We do need more clubs. But do we? Let me tell you what I did. It is hard to do the work to have a club.
Listen.
It is hard to do the work. It is I'm gonna tell you, I am so grateful for the few people that I do got down here that help me set ranges and cut this and cut that and get set up for things like that. Everybody don't have that, everybody.
So I have to give it to you. We have a guy who helped and had a freaking heart attack.
What?
Went and set the range on Friday, heart attack on Saturday during the darn shoot. I mean, that morning he was going to go, picked up Brittany, took him over to the thing. And then it's like, hey, I got to go to the hospital. Shout out to Ken.
Yes.
So, I mean, that was ridiculous. So, I mean, hard work. I mean,
it's just not easy. Yeah. And Lord knows everybody wants a club in their backyard.
So, John, I'm going to go ahead and throw this out there. Things are changing for next year. There's going to be some clubs come back, right? So awesome. We're making some changes. We're doing some stuff, trying to keep the sport growing. But it takes a team. It takes, like you were mentioning, it literally takes a group of dedication.
Absolutely. And that was going to be my other question. And that was going to be my other question to you. And I know you probably don't have the answer to all the questions. And I was hoping Randy was going to be on here. I have a few questions for him as president. But one of my questions was to him, now to you, is that I know there are some clubs that were ASA affiliated that are not ASA affiliated. Has the federation reached out to those clubs and went and tried to work something out and tried to at least hear them out and say, hey, look here, what's the problem? Like, what did we do? What can we do to bring you back? So has that happened?
Yes, I can answer that question with 100% certainty. Sweetwater.
Okay. So Sweetwater's one of them. I know there's a couple down south.
Mm-hmm.
I can name a couple down south. I'm asking and waiting on you.
Ace?
No, Ace. Even further south. Even further south.
Oh, no, that I don't know.
Okay.
You mean Valdosta?
Yeah.
Yeah, Valdosta's one.
Mm-hmm.
You got
that I can answer. You'd have to ask the club that question.
Right.
Or
well, that's what I'm saying. So whenever we renew as a club, and I say we because I run a club, whenever we renew and a club doesn't renew, does it throw a red flag for the federation and go, hey, look here, this club was an ASA club last year. Mm-hmm. Why didn't they renew? And number two, are we doing a follow-up with that club? Are we trying to reach out to that club and say, hey, look here, what's the problem? What can we do to help? What do you need? Right? Because we're not trying to lose you as a club. I'm
going to answer this question.
Okay.
As a club that did not renew this year, I have a reason that I didn't renew. Alisha knows we lost property. We went through a hard whatever, and we was trying to find one that's close enough to fill the what we need to do and how we need to do it. So I was not going to pay to be an ASA club if I wasn't going to host a shoot.
Sure.
I mean, I really wasn't.
Understandable.
And so that was my reasoning, but nobody has called me and asked me why. Mm-hmm. And I love ASA. I've shot it forever and learned, gained a lot of friends from it, So it's not a downer to ASA per se. It was for personal on the club side. We just needed a place, and I wasn't
right for you.
Wasn't going to spend for the club itself. Mm-hmm. I wasn't going to spend the money to put on to pay for the insurance and the whatever. First of all, you got to have the place where you're going to have it to put the insurance list on, sure. And then the second is the 350 whatever the 10 members, and if you don't have that, which we have 10 members, that wouldn't have been easy. But if I'd paid for the memberships and we didn't have shoots, it would have just been a loss, right?
It would have been a loss. But I think the main point there was there was no communication, right? So we have to look at it like this. It's a business, right? I'm a business owner. Okay, ASA is a business, right? Everybody gets their emotions involved in it because we're so emotional with it. We love it so much. We're emotional. But you got to understand it's a business. If it don't make money, it don't make sense.
It makes sense.
It don't make sense, right? So from a business standpoint, if a club does not renew, that means you're losing money, right? So if you're a business owner and you're not doing follow-ups on your money.
Yeah, I understand that. And I like I said, like what Ken just posted too. He's like he said, it's been discussed because it has. I've talked to Scott, I've talked to Randy. Everybody understood why we didn't this year, so they already knew that. But as far as like ASA as a corporate or as from Kennesaw or heard from them, I haven't heard from them, which is fine. Don't big deal.
Yeah.
But that we're gonna move past that.
Yep. I think it just needed to be said. Again, I'm gonna say this again. This is a healthy discussion. Nobody's beating. I don't want to appear to be beating Alisha up, and I don't want nobody else.
Here, so you're good.
I don't want nobody else to come in the comments and appear to be beating Alisha up. Nobody's trying to beat ASA or Alisha up.
Well, it's not. It's not. All we're doing is look. If you don't make suggestions. And if Scott was here, he'll know because we and him had this discussion a long time ago, right? Mm-hmm. Scott used to work at the fire department. He worked night shift, and we would talk on the phone like half the night because he didn't have, running calls they were doing. We'd talk late at night because there was nothing. He was not busy because of calls and that kind of thing. We talked about different stuff. And he was a lifelong ASAer, and where he stands now. But at the same time, he was doing the same thing you're doing, and the same thing that we're doing is saying, hey, why is this not happening? Or why they did this or why they did that? And I said, Scott, the only way you can make a change is to be part of it.
Sure. Absolutely.
And he says, well, I said, have you told anybody else besides me? I mean, you tell, I said, but if you get in the middle of it and so you can figure out the reasons that things happen, right? You understand how the mechanism runs, then you can do it. Well, then that was the first thing he did was move into state coordinator first. And then, as you know, where it has ended up is now
Right.
he is national coordinator. But I mean, and we had the same discussions, and we've had lots of discussions about, participations and what it should be. And I'm telling you right now, Alisha can tell you just from, she's been shooting ASA longer than you in the last couple of years. You've been shooting 4 years now, right? 4 or 5?
No, sir. Try again. 5.
Oh my God.
5
See,
years.
4 or 5.
Me,
Anyway.
me and Alicia
But-
were right there about the same time.
Yes, but the shooter of the year has changed every year.
Every year. And I'm going to piggyback on that.
It has.
Again, I am a woman shooter.
That's right.
How many women have you known or seen grow in archery in the past 3 years?
A ton. A lot.
A
Yeah,
ton.
a lot.
I've
But-
got the numbers. There's over 40 women
Yeah.
that have shot local clubs in the past 3 years compared to when I first started. It was just me and Melinda Hawk. That was
For
it.
sure. Yeah.
Right.
And that's what we're saying is that you put together. Yeah, Ken said 7. Yes,
7,
I remember.
Time.
So it's but I mean, you put together something to help drive that. We talked about it, many a times. Like, what can we do to get women? I was like, promote it, and that's what you have to do, and that's what you've done. And
Exactly.
And I'm not quoting on myself.
No, and it wasn't something that you did. Like, look at me. This was something, and the only reason you did it is to grow the sport.
Yes.
It's an example.
We need to do that with the
Yeah.
girls and the guys. And going back to Scott and Kim, and Randy, I mean, I have never 1 second in all the 7 years, as Ken says, since 2017, since we've been doing, none of these guys have ever had nothing more than a helping hand.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
I mean,
We have a great family.
yeah,
We really do.
there's no doubt. And you know as well as I do that family fuss at people sometimes, right?
Right.
That's just what it is. But yeah, I think that the growth has come, in different areas, right? All of a sudden, there's a big kick in the bow hunter 45 class. Why?
That's the biggest class on my spreadsheet.
I'll tell you, because
is.
they let the mover sight come in.
That's right.
I really believe that.
That's
because
right.
I hunt with a mover sight, and I've always hunted with a mover sight for many, 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 many years now. And I would, that was one reason I went to open, because I like to move my sight.
Right. Well, it's the easiest thing to do for not, and I say novice. I'm not saying novice as like, beginner, but it's the easiest thing to do for somebody who just wants to get into it.
Oh,
They
for
already have
sure.
this bow. They already
Exactly.
have it.
So you give them an outlet,
You
right?
know? So
So yeah, that's what I'm. So the growth is coming, and it is definitely.
It is.
Bow hunting is still the bread and butter of archery in the United States. Period.
Absolutely. And most people start in hunting. That's how I started. We were at ACE, with Ken
That's right.
and Robbie was setting up bows and for our hunting bows. And we were looking for something to do to practice during the off hunting season.
that's
I
right.
remember.
We got into competition and Ken shot one. I took my hunting bow and shot. The first round I ever shot at ASA was in the women's hunter class.
Yep.
That's right.
Granted, I only shot one round and I was like, wait a minute, I need that good equipment. But
But it was the same thing, right?
Exactly.
But at that time, they didn't have a mover sight hunting equipment, and you like to move your sight for hunting, so it was like that was the option. Now they've had that option, so that's a growth that I think it was a great thing.
Yep. I think it's a great move for ASA to add that class, and saying that change is good. Like
For
a
sure.
lot of people, like we have a lot of older, our older shooters, our older crowd does not like. So most older people don't like change, but Lord knows change is good, right?
The only thing that is constant in the whole world is change.
That shit's going to change. Right? It's going to change. It just is. That being said, I think it would behoove the federation to allow the clubs a voice, even if it's just get together and throw these same ideas that us three are doing. There's a ton of people in the comments right now, a ton of people in the comments that have that have ideas and that have
Oh,
may
for sure.
have, and who knows, they may have the key We don't know because we ain't giving them a voice. You know what I'm saying? Honestly, you know what I'm saying? So if we
I've
give
got
them the voice.
the one note that I've got written down right now to take back is a state meeting, the meeting after the state with all the clubs.
Right.
I love that. I think that's a great idea. And there is nothing other than a benefit for the federation.
Absolutely, 100%. Healthy conversation. What we're doing right now is great. There's nothing wrong with what we're doing right now. Nothing wrong.
absolutely not.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
love it. I think it's great. I think this was a great idea. Kudos to you guys. I was a little scared to get on here because I was like, oh, Lord, they're fixing to kill me, but part of it. But I mean, there's always going to be things that we may not agree with, you may not agree with, but the
for
person
sure.
next door may agree with. You know, it's very hard to make every single person.
You're not going to please
All
everybody.
you can do is try.
That's
You're
right.
not.
You know.
Let me ask you. So, John, have you been scanning some of these comments? I don't know if we missed any comments. I know we've been rambling.
Yeah,
and I've been trying because they've been coming in. They've been the comments have been coming in. Is there
all
any
this
questions?
talking and she's got one note? I got some up here too.
But yeah, I've been trying to scan and catch.
Okay.
You know, and bigger, you know, like questions. Talking about that. Jonathan said the same thing. He's seen more ladies at qualifiers and club shoots.
Absolutely. Yeah, I have too.
There's no doubt about it.
I've seen more youth ladies than any right now down here because we have a big 4-H and a big excuse me. So our 4-H group down here is huge down here, and it's more youth girls than it is youth boys, and they all support elite. Like I think I see 4 or 5 girls with bows jerseys
all the time
at every shoot that I go to down here. Like, and it's huge. That. It's a big thing. It's a big thing down here. So
I want to try to figure out my next biggest project. And Lord, here we go, entrepreneur again over here. I want to try to transfer the youth from 4-H and S3DA into ASA because that's our future. But
absolutely,
the youth classes in ASA is dwindling.
There you go, right there.
That's it.
David Elmore says it right there. He commented right behind you. Youth involvement is going to be key. 100%. Yeah,
absolutely. We've got to figure out a way to get these kids transitioned because S3DA is just about over, but ASA is starting up.
Back,
they can go from one to the other.
Right.
We've got to figure out a way to do that. Maybe we need to host an event. I don't know. Here I go again. All right.
Yep. Well, hey, I'm all for hosting events, and I'm for hosting off-site events. So I'm okay, and I know that we are cornered down here in South Georgia. Like I have the ocean that it hinders me. The ocean hinders me. So I am not above picking up and moving my things to a central location to host an off-site event. So if y'all want to do that, I'm game for it. I'm okay with it.
So Casey has a question. You know what he said is that the club should promote more. So he had no idea where the majority of the clubs are. Well, I'll tell you about that. All right.
Tell him one time, Big John.
I have tried my dangest to make sure that I have an address to the point that there's some clubs that post, hey, we're having a shoot this weekend, but they never tell you how to get there, what to get there, and where it's at. Right. So I've actually contacted them and said, hey, dude, people can't show up. Don't be mad if they don't show up because you ain't giving them an address. So in the calendar, every time that we make a Georgia Archery calendar piece, I put the address in it so you can click it. So if you see it on the Georgia Archery calendar, more than likely it's got an address of some sort or who to contact to get to find out more information.
Absolutely.
But you are 100% right. I have seen lots of posts that says, ABC is shooting this weekend. Hope to see everybody. Well, first off, where are you at? What club you are? What's that? What's the other club we had the other week? That's such a was it something buck, small buck, whatever it was?
Beards.
Scrub. No,
Scrub Bucks.
Scrub.
Yeah.
That's my favorite club name in the world.
Scrub Bucks.
I love that name.
So they posted the thing and they were having a shoot, right? And I was like, I sent a message like, well, where's this shoot? And I need an address, How is anybody going to show up if there's, no thing? Hey, Larry says no points, top 4 qualifiers. Plain and
Mr.
simple.
Painter. Hey, and that's another old schooler right there now.
That's
He don't like
definitely an old
change.
skicker.
Mr.
Definitely
Painter
I
don't
been
agree
there a
with
like
while.
that,
change now.
but okay, I agree with that. I do. However, adding those points drives people to all the clubs instead of
We've
just
got to, Alicia. We have to prove that point,
Yeah,
and that's
so
what
that's-
John was. That's
yeah.
what John was saying earlier. Okay, so let's let what we need to do, since you're over the SOA, the SOY program. We've got to start taking data. Okay, so we've got to see if we can go back and get data and compare data. Does it drive more participation, or is the 2 or 3 shooters worth worth the participation points that maybe we're only getting 2 or 3
Or
shooters,
worth making everybody else mad about it.
or worth making everybody else mad about it.
Well,
So I think,
I've got this fancy little spreadsheet right here.
all right, well, let's do it.
Well,
Let's
I can
do it.
show y'all. I mean, this right here, I don't know if I'll be able to do it on, but anyway, it shows every single club,
Okay.
every single score, every single standing,
Yep.
point, everything is all on one thing.
Mhm.
And I can tell you just by looking at every single thing on this spreadsheet, there has been over 42 shooters travel and shoot every single qualifier so far this year.
There's been 2 of them in my class. I can tell you that. I'm only going to tell you
There
right
you go.
now.
There you go.
There ain't no reason for me to shoot no more. I promise
That's
you
right.
that. Them boys got me beat on participation points.
100%. There's
And-
no doubt about it.
Well, and that's what it is. And that's another thing. Yes, shooter of the year is great scores, but it's also participation
Listen,
points. because
kudos to those dudes. Listen, let me tell you something. The guy that is leading my class right now, kudos to that guy, because that guy he's either got more money than he's got sense, or he's a retired dude that because I don't know. I can't, if I told my wife I was going to that many shoots, I would literally have to find somewhere else to live. There's no way in the world that I would
Well,
talk.
and I can tell you my
You
personal
spend that much money.
goal is to win the state championship. I
Amen.
mean, shooter of the year, okay,
Amen.
fine, whatever.
Right,
But
right,
for
right.
me personally, and this is aside from shooter of the year, whatever, I want to win the state championship.
Listen, Alicia, you're the shooter of the year representative. You're not supposed to say that. Okay.
I mean, hey, this is a friendly discussion.
Well, there's no doubt. I've been watching because I work every Saturday, so half of these qualifiers are on Saturdays. So I'm not going to make half of them anyway. And then Sundays are, my only day of the weekend to do something usually, and so sometimes your honeydew list is longer than your archery list. So it is what it is, right? Everybody has to make a choice to either drive here or drive there.
Here's a question. Do
Yep.
participation points make you travel? From Jonathan.
Right. And that's the question that we've been kind of going after this whole podcast is
It did
and the
some
only
people.
way it did some people.
Me.
And I'm not
It did
gonna
some people.
lie.
But listen, look at Rodney. Rodney right here. Rodney says, I had every intention on going for shooter of the year this year, but there is no way I can because of the bonus points. So in Rodney's situation, it threw him off of the program.
Yep.
Because he can't go. So it is situational. And what we have to do is figure out, and the only way you can do that is by data, right? Is by data. So you've got to take year in data and go, okay, look here. Crunch some numbers. Did it help or did it hurt? Like, what did it do, right? So for some people it did, for some people it didn't. You're not going to make everybody happy. And everybody in the chat, look here, chat. I love the passion and I love the all the emotions and everything. But some of y'all are just going to have to stay butthurt. I just hate it. I mean, I'm just hate it for you. You know what I'm saying?
There went your lag.
Yep. Oh yeah, I can see it lagging. It's lagging.
It's from uploading that darn image the whole time. But anyway,
let me put it to y'all like this for a second. So you talk about the bonus points, okay? So you're automatically going to shoot 4, no matter what. So if say the person, Dwayne, you shoot every single qualifier, and I shoot every single qualifier, the max amount of bonus points you got on top of me is 33. That's it.
That's right.
That's not a lot.
Okay.
That's if you shoot every single qualifier and get all those bonus points.
Right. if you only shoot 4 qualifiers, 33 points, I'm out of the race, right? So if I shoot 4 qualifiers, and let's say I shoot 10 up at each one, 33 points. 33 points ain't a lot of points. What are we saying here? How many shooters are shooting 33 up? That's what you're saying right now. That's basically what you're saying right now. 33 up. What you're saying right now is that's 33 up. That's going to a shoot and shooting 30. I got to go to a shoot and shoot 33 up.
Well, you're going to shoot 4 qualifiers.
Right, but so did the person that shot 30. So did the person that shot all the qualifiers.
This got 33 points on you.
This got 33 extra points.
So Jeremy just posted, and he said the participation points for S3DA pushed actually people that says, well, I don't care about doing the shooter of the year no more. And, so that's, because they're like, I can't, it's the same reason, right? You're sitting there going, the guy who makes them all is going to win.
That's right.
Yeah.
The more listen, it's big buddy. It's big bank, take little bank. That's what it is. It's just what it is. You know what I mean? So,
So if you have 14, let me ask you a question, and then I'm just throwing this all out of the whack. Instead of 3 bonus points, 2 bonus points, 10 bonus points, we all get 4, right? So you take 4 out of it. There was 14 qualifiers or 15 qualifiers, right? So that's 9 more, right?
Mm-hmm.
So 9 points. How about 9 points?
Look at David. Pin David's. I like that. I like that, David. Look at that. I like that. There you go. If you're trying to give somebody who participates something, why not give them this? Read it, John.
It says, do away with the points at the end of the year. If the shooter travels to all, give them a discount on the registration for next year.
If you're if you're trying to give participation award away,
make it different than the shooter of the year.
Yeah, make it different than beating
if you
a
make
guy.
If you make all of them, you'll get this back.
Right, there you go.
Hey, that sounds good to me.
That's
then
a thought.
Then it doesn't affect. Then it doesn't affect
the competition.
Competition.
It doesn't affect the competition. Right.
And then the other side is that the guy who does it all feels like, well, hey, I got something for spending $100,000 to travel.
There you go. So, anyways, the only way we're going to get through all of these things is if we have that meeting at the end of the year and everybody gets an opportunity to do what we're doing right now.
Just a voice.
Right?
Voice your opinion. And I'm telling you can make sure. This is all I ask. This is I ask from anybody as we're talking as friends. If you're going to boast a complaint, make sure that you give a positive also.
Absolutely.
So at least point out something that was good also. Mm-hmm. Because if everybody hears, well, you did this wrong and you did that wrong and you did this wrong, they don't hear anything great. They're like, well, I'm not going to do this anymore.
Yeah, I don't want to be a part of this. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. And we're all trying, like I said at the beginning of this podcast, listen, the only reason we're in here, we got 23 on Facebook, 4 on YouTube right now. The only reason those people are in here is because they give a crap about the organization.
100%.
Right? They care, right? And the only reason we're talking about this right now is because we care about it. We love it, right? Yep, we don't want to see it go away. We want to see it succeed, right? Mm-hmm. So that's the reason we're doing what we're doing right now.
Yep.
I don't want, and again, I do not want Alisha to not come back on Georgia Archery podcast because she feels like we beat her up, okay? That is not what we're doing right now.
So look, there's a long one right here. Read it out there, Dwayne. You see it?
Here we go. Yep. Participation points don't show who the most consistent and best shooter is. Not everyone can make all the shoots, but as you said, you'll never make everyone happy. I would just like to see it consistent every year. That's Miss Tiffany Tanner. I think that's well said. I think that is by and large the most consistent consensus that we've got right now so far. You know what I'm saying? So far right now, I think that is the consensus. And I think that at the end of the year, if we're able to make this meeting happen, I think we'll figure it all out, So everybody that's in the chat right now, the 23 people that's in the chat right now, I hope you come to state and I hope you stick around for the conversation. That's all I'm saying. Now,
so they said, like you said, a questionnaire. Even
there you
for
go.
every shooter, just have it ready so that hey, can you answer these few questions that we have as an organization, and then just collect them, and that's some data all day
We've
long.
done that. Now, we've done that at our safari shoot at Evgeni.
Yes.
Evgeni Bowman has done that at the safari shoot, and it has helped us out tremendously.
On what people wanted, what people didn't, how
Exactly.
much was what. I remember those days because it was 2 days, then it was this, and then and it tried to help it run faster and cleaner, and it did.
right.
It did its job. But yeah, I think we've definitely covered a lot of topic on this, and have definitely had some great ideas. And I appreciate Alisha coming on and taking the brunt of all the, I'm just kidding.
I'm gonna have to buy her a drink when she comes down here.
But yeah, so we do appreciate Alisha very much. And we had a lot of folks show up to listen.
We did.
So we know that there's a lot of people that are concerned about the same things, right? But ASA is not leaving tomorrow. I do believe that, like the consistency thing, I'm a big, the 7 years that Ken were talking about, the 7 years I have seen it changed. I remember one year we didn't have shooter year at all. Just didn't. We just didn't have it at all. And if you didn't shoot more than however many or 3 in your class, you didn't get a belt buckle. And well, then you're punishing the person who did shoot all the darn things not to get a belt buckle because they went and did, just because somebody else, they don't have, it's not their fault that some other people didn't show up. So,
That's
I mean,
right.
you have plus and minuses on all of those things. And at the same time, Alisha said, I don't want a participation trophy, but at the same time, I did my job. I showed
That's
up.
right. That's right. That's right.
So don't punish the person that showed up because you didn't have enough in the class. Which
Amen.
There was times on that too. So we were trying to find that happy medium, and there's always something we're trying to fix.
So to that for a second, and I can speak on this to my personal experience for what was it, the first 4 years that I shot in the ASA circuit for the state level.
Yep.
I always won shooter of the year. Always. I got to the point where I just threw that buckle in the drawer because to me, I didn't beat anyone. I beat myself.
Sure.
I was shooting against myself. So that is what stemmed Girls with Bows, is that right there. Because I was like, I need somebody to shoot against. Like, we need more girls. There was no girls on the ranges back then. None. I mean, aside from maybe a few.
And that comes from your competitive nature, right? And so there are
the whole sport.
Right. And there are a lot of people that don't do what you did. And I'm going to say that very quietly because I don't want to ruffle no feathers. But there are a lot of people who stick around in those classes where they know they're going to get that buckle every year because that's how they kind of like boost their little ego. So I'm going to say, and I'll probably get a couple DMs, so I'm sorry if I ruffled your feathers, but it had to be said. So, but look here. Kudos to you for wanting to compete against somebody, for wanting to feel like you deserved what you got, and that means a lot. And you should want to feel like you won it. You should feel like you won it.
You guys know that new for 2025, if you win state or shooter of the year, you got to move up.
You got to move up. Yeah.
You got to move up. You can't stay in one class and sandbag.
That's why I'm going pro this year because I'm winning state. I've already
got to move up, just like at ASA.
Yeah. That's right.
Oh, Rodney says the same thing, and me and Rodney's been in the same boat. We've shot a lot of tournaments that it would have been just me and now this year it would have been just me and him because of the age, right? At the same time. We've shot down into the other class just because it gave you somebody to compete against. Rodney was that way. He'd been shooting against us at, being already seniored out, but he still come and shot because he wanted to shoot against people. Right?
That's right. He does that to us at our club shoots. Rodney will shoot with us because he don't have nobody to shoot against.
There's no doubt about it. He'd rather shoot against somebody than compare numbers to each other and actually have a reason to compete.
Absolutely.
So but I think that I think we've come up with a lot of different good ideas and some good things. So
Jake, I am not buying you a drink if you don't come shoot my range. Jonathan, Alisha and Randy, I'm just reading some of these comments. Yes, Alisha and Randy do an awesome job. Daddy 100%. Says Girls with Bows rock. Rodney, thank you for commenting, but I'm getting tired of reading all your comments, dog. You know what I'm saying?
Oh me, but yeah, I just, and that's what I think about, how we're trying to do this. And then same thing, I started this Georgia Archery a billion years ago for the same reason that somebody else said. They didn't know where the dates were, they didn't know where the places were, because you had to hunt in 17 different places to find everything. So I tried to consolidate it. So yeah, I'll be down for that for sure, to have a meeting to do. And I would, you can buy us all a drink. We can all talk about it. But
let's do it. I am down, brother. I promise you. I am never one to shy away from a social event where there is some adult beverages involved. Okay.
Well, and I want to, before we jump off of here, I need to give a shout out to Randy and Scott and to these guys.
For sure. The whole,
for me, going just from being a shooter to doing all this and seeing
a lot of work
stuff that they do, it's a lot of work. A lot of these guys don't even get to shoot anymore. Period.
Nope.
They don't even get their bows out of their case.
90% of the range guys that are on the range, right, at an ASA event nationally, right, and most of them are either state organizers or state directors or so forth around other states. They don't shoot their bow.
They don't have time because they're trying to do things for
they're
us.
making sure that we enjoy the sport that they love so much. That they,
those guys are the real heroes. Yeah,
100%.
Sure.
I mean, it's the same thing with and I'm going to go off on a different organization, but U.S. Archery has their major events every year, and Olympians, right? People who've won a medal from the Olympics are out there setting up targets, cutting the grass, drawing the lines, putting all the stuff out. And I would always point out to the kids, I said, you know who that is?
Right.
You know who that is? You know who that is? That's an Olympian. That's an Olympian. This person is a national champion. This person is that. And they're doing this now, not shooting, but doing it so that the sport continues.
They're giving back.
So they're giving back.
That's right. 100%. And I think it needs to come full circle like that. And kudos to Scott and Randy and the whole ASA team that goes out. Like I've talked to Randy a couple of different times this past week. This ain't his first trip to Kentucky. They've already been 2 times getting ready for this thing. So they leave their families to go weeks on end,
to make the shoot.
To make this happen, man.
Yeah.
So kudos to you guys, man, that are doing that. Awesome. We really appreciate it because we love shooting, and maybe one day we're going to be the guys out there on the range doing the same thing they are.
For sure. Anywho, I think that's going to be the continuation of that.
Yeah,
Alisha, you want to hang around while we do the what's coming up this weekend?
Well, let's give Alisha the opportunity to whatever kind of shout out you want to give out. Girls with Bows, ASA. What do you want to say?
Who you is and where to find you.
There you go.
Okay, well, if you don't know about Girls with Bows by now, you are living under a rock. But we have some fun stuff going on. We've partnered with Artemis, Georgia, so we're bringing in new women, introducing them into archery, and we've got some events going on at the Charlie Elliott DNR range coming up soon, so stay tuned for that. Just lots of fun things going and lots of recruiting going on, so pay attention to our Facebook page.
Cool beans.
And if your points are not right on the spreadsheet, just send her a main message.
No, my points are right because I have the calculator. But listen, no, for real, the biggest thing that I've gotten, the most messages I've got is this person and that person's the same person.
Yeah. So here's a public service announcement. Learn how to spell your name.
Make sure you fill your scorecards out the same every time.
Yep.
Yes. Oh. Amen.
That's it.
Yeah. All right. Well, you want to hang while we do who's going to shoot this weekend?
Yeah, go for it.
All right. So, all of the collegiate archers are headed to Michigan, Lansing, Michigan. A lot of them have flew out, headed out for this weekend's National Collegiate Outdoor Tournament. So, good luck to all of the different clubs that are headed that way and teams that are headed that way to Lansing, Michigan.
Absolutely.
All from the state. There'll be a good bit that go to that. So this weekend is Saturday. The S3DA, I'm starting at the bottom. It's going to screw him up. S3DA Regional has a bonus shoot because it was added late at the same time because we didn't have one in the area.
That's right.
So that's why we're calling it a bonus shoot. And Richmond Hill this weekend.
What?
So who's hosting that? That is hosted by Eagle Creek of S3DA team. And Dwayne offered his range because they don't have a 3D range. Offered his range to host this shoot.
That's right.
So that's what that is.
Yes.
Also this weekend, I'm assuming you're having your club shoot also.
Yes. So normally S3DA doesn't allow. They only want to like hold their shoot or whatever the case is. I'm fortunate enough to have two ranges. So what I did was I was like, listen, we'll just throw it on top of my club shoot if that's okay, and I'll set two ranges.
So they're still separate, but in two places. Yeah,
exactly. So they're still separate, but in two different places. So yeah, so we're still holding our club shoot. The club shoot's going to be set up for obviously all ASA classes are going to set the range up just like going to Kentucky. So all ASA classes, and it's going to be our third Ultimate Archer Challenge. So if you have participated in the past two, you want to come out and get your points for that because we're still giving away a whole
bunch of stuff.
A whole bunch of stuff. So you're still more than capable of winning a whole bunch of stuff.
The prize is big.
Like the Matthews lift, right?
Yeah, so we got a Matthews lift. We got a Matthews lift, and we have a full tethered lineup. So the tethered saddle lineup.
The whole thing. You'll have everything you can do to climb a tree, get in there, and kill a deer.
Yep. You won't have to go buy nothing. Everything comes with that.
So yeah. So, yep, that's happening this weekend. Also, that's two shoots in one, right? So essentially, so if you're an S3DA and you've registered and you're a parent and you like to shoot your bow, take your bow with you and shoot the other side while the kids are shooting.
That's right.
That's
right.
So, Roddy said he's going to take it. There's his comments again.
Yeah.
So, also, Gainesville is hosting the Southern Shootout Series. Used to be the Baker Series, I guess it was.
Yeah. Jason Baker used to run that, and I think this feller here decided to take it over.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so they're hosting that this weekend. So if you hadn't registered for that, I think you have till 10 o'clock tonight. So in just a few minutes, get out there and register. And then after the shootout series, the Gainesville will have their open targets from like 1 to 3, right? You're going casual start is fun shooters only. Right. So essentially the range is still set and it's still there, and you can come in and shoot for fun if you want to on Saturday. Also, the RBO qualifier is this weekend, Saturday and Sunday. He moved most of all of his shoots to 2 days.
2 days, yeah.
And so he is hosting Saturday and Sunday, and it is a qualifier.
Right. So get your shooter of the year points, kids. Okay.
Let's see. It looks like Outback had his range out on the calendar, and I haven't seen it posted, but it was earlier in the year. It had been set dates, and so
I didn't see anything posted, but I did have his on my calendar too. So
it was on the calendar for a while, but so that's Saturday, and then RBO on Sunday, and also the GBAA 2025 State Target Championship, which is an international round. And if you ain't done that, if you'd missed the last podcast. You missed a lot because we talked about it a whole bunch.
There it is right there.
Yep.
You can win this right here, kids.
Yep.
You can win this. Come out Sunday, and you can win this, kids.
That's right. So the state target, it's an international round. It's great. It's fun. It's like a whole bunch of fun for sure.
It's a lot of fun.
He's not going to bring his bow. He's just going to go get his 3 points and go home.
There you go.
Where is RBO? That's a great question. I will give you the address, but I want to say
Franklin,
Georgia.
Franklin, Georgia. Yeah. It's right on the Alabama line, Greg.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Go to Noonan and hang a right.
the GBAA state target, you guys, you got to understand the GBAA only hosts 5 tournaments a year, and each one of those tournaments is what they consider a state tournament, right? In each one of those tournaments, you have the ability, or you have the, I don't even know how to say that. Anyways, you can win one of those belt buckles I just showed you. So, and it only, dude, it's so the cost to go shoot these things are minimal.
Yeah,
honestly,
all right.
It really is.
So
RBO. Well, I'm just going to throw this in there real quick. We got London coming up, right?
Oh yeah,
Gotta love London.
that's right.
Good
Well, let
thing
me tell you a
about
secret.
RBO is Scott is going to mimic his shoot to London.
He got some heels over there.
Yep, you're going to practice for London.
So, everybody asked. It's 15475 Georgia 34 Franklin, Georgia. So that's the address. 15475 Georgia Highway 34 in Franklin, Georgia. And if your GPS says turn right at the whatever road it is before,
it is confusing.
Don't do it.
It is confusing. It is confusing.
So right across from the middle school, I think it is his driveway. Somebody asked about the GBAA, which is, what does that stand for, sir?
The Georgia Bow Hunters Archery Association.
Yeah.
That's right. So it is the sister organization of the NFAA. So it is our state organization.
That's it.
It's
the
our
state of the
organization.
NFAA. Yep.
So we hold the Southeast sectionals for the NFAA. So I say because I'm a part of the GBAA also. I'm a member of them. So they hold the Southeast sectionals. That is the indoor and the outdoor sectionals.
Yep.
Okay.
So state fields next month. GBAA has extended their registration. So it's supposed to close tonight at midnight online. They're going to push it out to get more people that want to go. So, if you want to sign up, maybe you're going down for the S3DA, take your bow with you, shoot coastal, spend the night, and then go over. And even if you want to shoot for fun at the GBAA state target, you won't get a chance for the belt buckle, but you'll have a chance to have a whole lot of fun shooting a whole lot of arrows at a whole lot of targets, and learn a whole lot of stuff about a different form of archery that you probably haven't ever done before.
And yourself as an archer.
Oh, 100%. No doubt about it. I still need a sight tape.
Elavarch Art Outdoor says, how does he get into the GBAA?
How do you get into the GBAA? Well, there is a website. It is gbaa.georgiaarchery.com. You can read about it, do whatever. If you go on and register, you can actually see it. If you wanted to go try that event, you can read about and how it works. And then you can actually join day of the shoot.
Yep.
You can actually join the day of the shoot before we shoot for the belt buckle. So that's just more information. They do a 5-spot. If you understand what NFA does, that's their state indoor is a 5-spot. They do a outdoor event, could be a 900 round or it could be an international round, either one, and a 600. But we're don't talk about that much. And then they do the field round. And then they host 2 3D shoots a year.
Yep, 2 state 3D shoots a year.
Their 3D shoots have changed some of their classes to ease more of what people were used to for ASA. So, that's what it's done.
They mimic ASA classes very closely now.
Yep.
Yeah.
We've tried our best to make the state.
And you know why they do that? Because we have those end of the year meetings.
So someone asked,
we have those discussions.
Exactly. So how does the ASA State Championship work? Well, the ASA State Championship, Jake's probably still in here. His club is hosting that event. Trip may be in here. They could tell you more about how it goes. But what happens is you have to shoot a qualifier and qualify in a top percentage, right? Is that not still the case?
You just have to shoot one qualifier, and there has to be one paying competitor in your class.
Yeah, so you have to shoot a qualifier and have to shoot against somebody, and if you did that, then you can go to state championship.
Amen. That's
okay. That's it. I just want to make sure I was correct.
Jeremy
all
Johnson. No, they're not. They're not all on Sundays.
No. This one is, and honestly, the reason this one is on Sunday is because of Coastal and the S3DA thing that he has going on
Absolutely.
Saturday. That is what y'all are 22 miles apart.
Yeah, we're about 22 miles apart, and they accommodated me in the S3DA program that we are trying to start down here. So kudos to the GBAA for being so supportive. We really appreciate it.
I will say that the next tournament after this, which is the state field tournament, is on a Saturday.
It's on a Saturday. That's right. Mm-hmm.
And the next one after that would be the state 3D, and it's also on a Saturday.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Which the date hasn't been posted yet, but it'll be out very soon.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think that's we covered most of everything. Everybody's got a good thing. If you saw something we missed, send us an email, info at Georgia Archery, and you can always.
Trip no what? Trip said no.
No, he was answering the question about Sunday shoots. I believe.
Oh, okay, I got you.
Oh, yeah.
I know you can't make it Sunday, Jeremy. You're behind the pulpit, buddy. I understand that completely.
That's right. That's right.
So,
we're getting a lot of questions right now. Holy crap! We're trying to end this thing. We're getting a lot of questions.
Well, is ASA State 2-day shoot, or you have the option to shoot it either day, or you can shoot it to whatever you want to do. You just got to shoot 30 targets.
That's right.
You shoot first 15, come back, turn your scorecard in, and then go back out. Sometimes you can go out with the same group. Some people have just had to shoot the first 15 and had to go, and they regroup you if you need be. That's the way it's been when it's not a shotgun start. So
that's right.
That's how it works.
Ella Varch, the GBAA bid out their tournaments. So if you're a GBAA club, you have the opportunity to bid for the tournament. So North Georgia clubs that are GBAA clubs can get a tournament if they want. If they want a tournament, all they have to do is come to the end of the year meeting and put their bid in for the tournament.
All right, Larry, go ahead.
No. I was finished.
So Larry says the state field is usually a 2-day tournament, and yes, you are correct in that it usually is a 2-day tournament, but they have limited it now to a 14-14-14 round. So we're going to do it all in one day.
Yes. So the NFAA is trying to do things to figure out how to get more participation in the field. And the Southeast sectionals are 14-14-14 now. And we can pull 14-14-14 off in one day. So instead of having a host 2-day tournament, we have, and we
essentially have always shot that many arrows in one day. Because we've always shot the field shoot 28, and then turn around and shot the animal round on the first day.
Animal round.
So which is 14-14-14. So, and once they moved it to 14-14-14, Larry, then lots of states have turned it into a 1-day deal.
That's right. That's not a us thing. That's an NFAA thing. We didn't have anything to do with that.
Tell, man. I remember you coming down and shooting that. I sure do. Had a good time. But yeah, so it's a 1-day deal. That'd be awesome. So I think that it would bring a chance of the guys who want to try that but didn't want to spend 2 days because of the same thing, travel, motel rooms, this type of thing, may get to come out there and just make a full day of shooting arrows and have a great time. So, and we'll talk about that more as it comes up because that's, next on the list for sure.
That's right. That's right.
But you can find this podcast live on Wednesdays at 8:30. Most every live, we've been doing this pretty regular because we like the conversation. Every Wednesday on Facebook and YouTube. Sometimes on Instagram. We don't read the comments, and Instagram will cut you in an hour. It doesn't matter what we do. That's automatically going to cut off. So when we're doing a live, we're at an hour and a half now.
Yeah, this was good.
Yeah. But and now you can find all of this information and more on www.georgiaarchery.com, where we have the list of the calendar of the shoots. If you've seen something that's missing, send me a message. If you want something talked about on the show, send us a message. If you want to listen to this audio later, it will be found on most of your favorite podcast apps. So anything else?
That is it, man. I think we did good. Alicia, we really appreciate you coming on, darling. And look here. I think we got a lot accomplished and love your face. I hope to see you in London. We need to do dinner and get that drink.
Yes. Oh my gosh, we're gonna be there. Bring your boots. Be prepared out here.
That's right. Let's do it.
Hey, look, before everybody knows, I got a brand new microphone. I had to keep up because big time, big time. So, yeah. Anyway, take someone, teach them how to shoot a bow. It will last them a lifetime. Amen. Until next time, I'm Big John.
I'm the saltwater baby.
And
peace.
we'll see ya.